Welcome back to the next episode of Len's 48 Willys pickup project. We have been working on this cab for a long time. There's been a steady flow of videos out on working this cab, and I'm here to report we are almost done with the cab. And on this video, we're going to turn our attention to the grill. Now this grill looks pretty good at a distance, and I think it could be used, but I want to show you some problems with it and how we're going to fix them. Looking straight on, this grill looks pretty nice, but I want to move in and show you what I think are the biggest problems. I just don't think it's showing up on camera. This right here, instead of coming straight down, it's got a pretty severe bend in, really right across these three fins. And this is actually laying back at an angle. This should be completely vertical. So we got trouble with this. I think part of that trouble, let's try this side, is that this bottom piece, I guess this floor inside the grill is humped up. So this whole thing has been just shoved forward. And I don't know that I can just start pounding on this and straighten it out. And then let's flip around the back here. Back side of the grill looks pretty good. We got a little bit of a wave in here, but it's not that bad. This little thing is the bracket for the radiator. It's basically for a little support rod, and it looks like the top of that is broken out and it's cracked in a few, oops, get my hand out of the way, cracked in a few places. So that's what we've got in front of us. Let me show you what I have to work with on the other side here. We have another grill. Now this grill, it's got some of its own problems, but I think they're a lot easier to fix. This grill actually was originally the grill on this truck right here. I had a parts truck that I used the grill on because it was even better shape than the one I had. And this one went off to the scrap yard with that parts truck, only to have me go back and rebuy this grill because I think this is going to be a lot really cheaper and easier to work with than trying to get all of those problems fixed on that grill. Now this grill's got a few things it needs done. Let's start, well, first of all, I'll just start and show you. It's nice and straight through all of the bars there, so there's really nothing to do there but to just clean the paint off. Now, we look straight down at this headlight, and you can see it's just a flat surface. We come over to this side, and this is bent back, this is bent in. But I think this is easy to fix with a hammer and dolly. So that one is no big deal. Now we're going to swing around to the back. I'll show you the good first. That radiator support bracket is really nice. We do have a lot of stuff that's been peeled back along here. The edges of this, I guess I call it the radiator surround. Like for instance, this is bent in, it should be back this way. So there's a lot of just hammering and fixing to get that flattened out, but again, I don't think it's a big deal. The biggest problem with this one right here though is this piece is caved in, but they very crudely cut a big hole out of this. I think the snowplow control or the hoses or something was coming through here. So this just needs to come out. So I think what I want to do is just steal parts from this one. So I can cut this nice piece out of here and just weld it right in place of this. And then I think, let's see, oh, one other thing, and they both have this problem. In fact, my other grill that I used on my truck had the same problem as well. So I'm going to flip these and show you this. This little bottom piece is the bottom support, and it's supposed to have a stud coming out of here. It's gone. It's completely broken off. The same with this one. So it's not too tough. I just need to get a bolt in here and weld it in. So I'll do that as part of this work. I want to start this job with something easy. So you can see, we'll kind of sight straight down there. You can see the bend. This right here is pulled back. But before I even try to push this forward, I noticed that, let's see if we can look at this too. This little lip here is kind of dished in. This should be flat. Let me show you this on this one. You see how that one is flat with the surface, and this is pushed in. So I'm going to put this on its face on some timbers. I'm going to try to straighten this out as much as I can before I try bending this back in place. Okay, we're getting close here. Let me see if I can get a good angle on this. I think this little corner right there is still kicked down. We might even be out a little bit here. But I can tweak it as we go here, so we'll give it a little bit more time and see if I can get it straighter. I think we got it here. I'll take a sight line there now. That looks nice and straight, and I got just a little bit of work to do on the inside here to flatten that. But I think we're there. Let's move on now. Next thing I want to do here is straighten these out. This one has been bent over. This one's been bent over as well. And we can take a look at our other grill to see what it's supposed to look like, because I don't think this has been changed. So this comes up, cuts over, and comes straight up. Both sides are that way. So I need to go along and get this thing bent straight up. Well, I've got a little edge right there. Let me see what I can do with that. Got a good start on this side, but I realized I had kind of flattened it out while it was laying over like this. The whole thing has to come over, and then I'll bend a little bit of it back up. because this is a profile we're after. It's going to come up, it's cut over for a short time, and then come all the way up. So first thing I've done on it is scribed a line, or drew a line where I think that first bend goes. So I'm going to get it all flat, get a nice sharp edge on this. Then I'll mark where it needs to go the other direction, and we'll get going on that. Okay, I think that's a pretty good start. Should have the same profile as the other one. I still got a little bit of work to do on it, but I think I'm heading in the right direction here. I'm going to weld up some of this stuff down around here before I try to finish straightening this out. It's so weak right now that it's only bending right where the cracks are, so I'm going to go away, clean this up, and then I'll continue on. All right, I think I'm done with this for now. I've welded this together. It's got a little ugly in here, but it's fine. And I was able to get this straightened out and laid in at least the way I want it. I'll finish up. There's a little more welding to do, but I want to wait until I'm done with this, straightening this panel out. So we'll stop on this. Now over to this side, I'm going to wait on this for just a minute because this isn't supposed to be tucked underneath here. So I need to get this out of the way. And conveniently, this panel is going to get replaced. I'm going to cut this whole thing out. So what I'll do is I'm going to drill out the spot welds on the side here. Then I'm going to run my zip blade right through here, and then I'll come straight through there, cut it off, and I'll take this whole piece off, and then I'll cut the piece out of here and weld it in. I'll show you how I like to do spot welds. I usually start by grinding off the paint, and that shows me where all the spot welds are. Then the next thing I'll do is start a pilot hole on each one of these, right in the center. Even sometimes just a divot is enough. This one is going to be a little tough because it's right at the edge. Okay, I'll show you the reason that I do this. I got a spot weld drill, and it's got a centering bit to keep it from dancing around, and it's spring loaded. Takes a lot of pressure, but starting these little divots in here gives this thing something to land on. You can always tell when you're getting through as you start to see a little rust. Okay, I think that's all of them. Now we'll just pop them loose with a thin chisel. Let's see if I got room to work. There, I took them all in one shot. Okay, we got our panel cut out. I undersized it just a little bit. Here's my replacement panel. So this is going to go right in here. We'll straighten everything out, and then we'll cut it to fit. Here's a little more progress. We got this lip bent up and straightened out. This was a lot easier on this side because it was pretty much just laid down this way. Just needed to bend this lip up and then hammer and dolly it. So we're done with that. Next thing I want to do before I go work on this patch is take this dip out of that top panel. And I'm going to use a combination of some blocks and a C-clamp to see if I can pull it up, because there's really not enough room to get in behind here and get a good swing on it with a hammer. So I pulled together a bunch of pieces and parts here. Let me show you what I'm thinking I want to do with this. I'm going to put a 2x4 on this side, and let's see if I've got enough C-clamp to do this. I want to brace this up a little bit so I can pull this a little beyond because it'll spring back. And I'll just put a piece of angle iron below this just so that it's going to pull the whole thing. We'll see. That may or may not work. So I just need to get a C-clamp on there. We'll see how it works. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's going to want to spring back a little bit. We'll see how we did here. I'll throw a straight edge on there. Got a little bit more, but I think we're getting it. Did a little more work here. We got a little bit of a high spot. You can see right here, which is fine because now I can hammer down on it from this side. But I should be able to get this relatively straight. And then this flange here, I'll just bend that now so it's flat along here. I may even wait on that, just kind of leave it alone until I have my patch in, and then I'll go do the whole thing when it's completely supported. I have my replacement panel just sort of roughly clamped in. I took a measure from here, I guess this outer edge right here, all the way to this edge here. And I checked it against my 49 and then tweaked it to get this thing in just the right spot. It's still sitting a little high just because of this little overlap, but I'm not so concerned about that. I just want to get this close. I'm going to draw a line here, and I'll cut just a little bit inside just for starters and try to do a better job of fitting this. One little problem I can see right now, and this is the way, must have been the way I cut out the patch. Because of this dip, I should have gone straight down because you can see it kind of kicks in, so I'm going to have to throw a little piece of metal or something in there. Got it clamped back in. I cut away a little bit of this underneath here. I've got it lined up on the top now. I cut enough of this so I can match that up to where it needs to be. Clamped it all back together. Now I'm going to take the grinder and cut kind of a diagonal along here to make the gap as narrow as possible. Then I can clean things up and start tacking it in. Well, we're tacked in. It's fitting up pretty good. Got a little gap there, but I think I can actually jump that. I'll have to make this piece to fill this hole right here. But I can do that. So now I'm just going to plug weld these in and finish welding all the way around for this, and I'll be back. We're all welded up. Didn't have too much trouble jumping that seam. And we're plug welded along this edge. Last thing I need to do here before I can do some grinding is make a little patch for this. So I think what I'll do is maybe take a piece out of the one piece I removed here because it's got the right curve. Just make a little patch and throw it in there. Okay, I think we're done with that repair. Getting this little piece in here was tricky. It was a really tiny piece, but we got it in there. So this piece is nice and solid again. I'd say it looks goodish. And it looks a whole lot better when I pull that old piece out and compare it. So I think we're done with the grill work. I think the only thing left on this is just to clean it up. I got to sneak just a little bit of cab work into this video. This is the last of the big stuff on this cab before it can go off to be finished and painted. I don't want to go too far. I think the paint guy is going to want to maybe do some of his own work as far as mudding. But I want to get a cab corner on here. This thing we decided was so far gone and so mangled up that it'd be easier just to put a new cab corner on. So Len ordered this up, got it through Kaiser Willys. We ordered, there was two different options, Kaiser Willys or Jeepster Man that we looked at. The Kaiser Willys one was another inch taller, 11 inches, and the higher I can go up here to take care of some of this stuff, the better. So this is going to go in right here. I'll have to trim it, but I want to maybe keep it all the way up to the top here to get above this mark. So we're going to do that. Now, one of the other things I noticed about this one, and I think this is true of the one that I put on my truck too, is we got this nice rolled under edge here, but when it curves up in here, on mine, I didn't have to use that. I actually cut mine right there, but we need this because I want to get all the way over here, take care of all of this. But this doesn't have that rollover edge. It's just flat. So I think what I'm going to do on this one is actually make my own. So I'm going to cut a piece of metal and just weld it in there, and then I'll just grind it off and make it look as good as I can. It's just kind of hidden anyway, but might as well do that. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to also get in here and start cutting this away. I actually want to leave this piece here because this one doesn't have one. And on my truck, when I did it, the piece that came in here was, it just didn't even fit well. It didn't match up very well. This one's in good shape, so I think we're going to cut around this and leave this in place. Okay, I marked something a little bit smaller than what I need to cut out. So I'm going to start by just getting this out of the way. Our patch goes quite a bit wider than this, but I want to start fitting it in. We've got some spot welds on this door pillar. And I'm going to try to just bust them loose rather than trying to drill them out. We'll see if it works. I'll just use this thin chisel. Last thing is to get through here. There is a seat pedestal right at this level. You can see there are spot welds along here. What I'm going to do is cut below it, and I should be able to drop this panel out. Then I can kind of cut in between these and twist them off. Hopefully that'll work. All right, now we just got this piece. Okay, there we are. It's wide open now, and I can start fitting up that corner. And we get a little better look inside. Let's see what else is going on with this. This was that cab mount that was a complete fabrication. This is not a factory mount, but it looks pretty stout, so I think that's going to be just fine. Okay, we've got a rough fit. I just put some self-tappers in there. We'll have a little more trimming here to get it right. I think we're in the neighborhood. I do have one thing I did that I just was not paying attention. I left a huge gap, so I'm going to have to put some metal in there, but that's all doable. So I will fix that. But the next thing I need to do is remove this thing and put that little lip on this edge that was missing. I welded that flange on, so I've welded it both on the back and on the front here. So I'm going to look at this. Gave me plenty of material to grind this and kind of get a little bit of a rounded finish. Now this is tucked away behind the cab, but I think it looks okay. It should work. All right, we're all tacked in. It's a fairly decent fit up. I was able to recover from my gap over here by on the very top. I just used some coat hanger to fill the gap as I welded, and in the bottom I cut a little sliver out of a piece of metal and put it in. And then I got this all plug welded in. So now I just need to finish welding this and grind it. All right, we're 100% welded up. Went back and looked for pinholes. Got those all touched up. Now it's time to do a little grinding and see if we can clean this up a hair. I got the cab corner ground off, and as finished as I'm going to take it, the next thing that's going to happen is that this cab will end up going to the guy to do the finished body work and paint. So I'm going to leave it up to him to figure out how he wants to finish this piece out. But it's nice and solid. It's welded in well. Fits up really good. I fixed my mistake in there, so that should finish out just fine too. With that, that's kind of the end of the work in this video. I have to start cleaning some things up. They're telling me we got a foot of snow coming tomorrow. So I got to make some room to get some stuff inside here. In the meantime, I'm going to start looking at the doors. Next video, I think we're going to work on these doors. There's a little bit of work to do on them. Not a lot, but we'll get a closer look next time around. So I want to thank you for joining me and sticking along with the work that we're doing here. I will continue to post videos of the progress. So if you want to follow along, I suggest that you click on subscribe, and hopefully you'll get notified when the next video comes out. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.